Everybody. Welcome, everybody. This is Progressive HR Live. Thank you for tuning in today. It is a blistery cold winter day here in Madison, Wisconsin. I am here with Waikit Lau, the CEO of RemoteHQ. And I want everybody to know I love this technology. I use this technology with my clients, and I've just found it like completely amazing. And they're constantly adding new things, launching new apps, having different things. It's just always amazing me what's coming up. So Waikit, how are you? Where are you coming from today?
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I am based out of Boston, but for the next few months, for the next few months, I'm actually out of Puerto Rico. And this is the magic of remote working and work from home that, COVID has foisted upon us. So the silver lining is that now everyone is remote, and there are technologies that allow us to work remotely. I can actually be in a warmer spot than in the Northeast. I was just hearing that it's going to be 8 degrees tomorrow night in Boston.
Oh my goodness! So you're in Puerto Rico right now. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah. So I'm in Madison. Like I said, I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, and it's a really, really cold day. And we have our furnace is having problems. So if anybody sees me like going and like this, I'm just trying to warm up here. So if you're joining us now, welcome to Progressive HR Live. Please say hello. Tell us where you're joining from, and any comments you have, any questions you have. So we're ready to kick off our questions with Waikit. We're here with Waikit Lau, CEO of RemoteHQ. So Waikit, what is RemoteHQ?
RemoteHQ is a collaboration platform at its most basic layer. The way we explain it, or the way we explain how it works, is you can think about all the video conferencing platform that you're familiar with, like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, you name it, right? All you can do on all these platforms are primarily video conferencing and screen share. How we are different is that we allow you to do so much more than being able to see and hear each other and see each other's screen. And I'll show you a demo what that means. So we allow you to be able to bring different apps that you already use into a collaboration session with audio and video embedded. So for example, you could be working on a Google slide or Google Doc or an Excel spreadsheet, or maybe just going over a website. So we essentially allow you to bring all those things into your session and turn them collaborative with just one click. There's no download. Everything is web-based, so we make it very easy, one click, and intuitive. So that's what RemoteHQ is. We are, as a company, we are about 3 years old right now. When we started the company way before COVID, we decided that we're going to be a remote-first company so that we eat our own dog food. So we have employees today, tens of them around the world. I'm Northeast. My co-founder is in a different city. He's in Rhode Island, but we've got teammates out in Eastern Europe, in Midwest, and some in Asia as well.
Wow, thank you so much. So we have Meredith from Milwaukee joining in. Hi, Meredith. Welcome to the live. And we have my good friend Matthew Lay from Kenosha. Hi, Matthew. Thanks for joining us. Matthew, is it as cold in Milwaukee? I'm assuming it's as cold in Milwaukee as it is in Madison. Oh, sorry, Kenosha. Same with you, Meredith, in Milwaukee. So we are going to go back to our questions now. And I would like to, if you have any questions or comments for Waikit, let us know. We're going to be doing a demo later, and I'm sure you're going to have lots of questions after that. But we're going to go into our second question now. And I want to know, where did the idea to build RemoteHQ come from?
It's primarily from my last company. So this is my third startup. The last company I started was about 15 years ago. And we grew to about 500 to 600 people at the peak, about 12 offices around the world. They're mostly sales offices and marketing related offices, but still we found ourselves spending a lot of time and money flying people around just so they can meet internally with their colleagues, as well as to meet with clients. So when I left the company, we took the company public in 2013, and then I left shortly after that. So when I left the company, I kind of look back at my 8 years of experience building that company and what the main challenges were. The biggest thing I keep on coming back to was, this is the 21st century. The best we could do is just being able to see each other and see what's on each other's screen. We can't able to replicate all the collaboration modalities that you and I could have if we were in a room together sitting next to each other, right? I can, give you my Excel spreadsheet or my Google Sheet. You can make changes to it, or I can be looking over a kayak flight booking so that you and I can sync our travel plans, and you can make some changes on, well, what if you change, your flight time from this to that? That's very organic, right? But when you're remote, a lot of those things, you have a hard time replicating them. So our mission when we started this was, we basically said, how can we create a technology platform that allows you to replicate the in-person feeling, whether you're with a colleague or, more importantly, if you're with a customer. And it turns out that's actually ended up being one of the big use case of our platform is customers of us or users of our platform using it with their customers, either in sales demo, in support, in troubleshooting, or in onboarding or training.
Yeah, so I've used it with when I'm helping people optimize their profiles on LinkedIn. I like to go and create these different workspaces, so you can. Waikit's going to get to this, but you can create a workspace for a number of different people. And so I create a workspace for each client that I'm working on, and everything's different. So I may be using Canva. Well, I can't use Canva yet, but Waikit said they're gonna put Canva on there for me. But you can do Google Docs, and you can share your URL. So you're basically working in tandem. You don't have to switch between screens. So we have a few more comments here. So Meredith says, yes, it's 7 degrees with wind chill in Milwaukee. So fur. And Sean says, hello from Tucson. Hi, Sean. Weather here is a little different. Yeah, I would agree. I think it's probably a lot warmer in Tucson. And then Dolly says hello. She is in Surrey from the UK. So I know we have a few people from the UK watching today. Hi, everyone. So going back to our next question, and again, audience, if you have any questions for Waikit, any comments, and if it's just to say hi, throw them in. We're going to go to what makes RemoteHQ different from other remote team workspaces.
Yeah, so a few big differences. Number one is you can do things here collaboratively that you can't do anywhere else. And again, it's much easier for me to show you guys what that means in a bit when I go through the demo. That's one. The second one, which is, it may come off as cosmetic, but it turns out it's actually a big differentiation that people have told us. When you are in a conference call, you have different types of layout, right? Zoom has popularized the gallery layout where you see everyone. And then Google Meet back in the day has popularized the active speaker, right? Whoever's speaking is on the main screen. Interestingly enough, if you survey people like what sort of layout they want, you get different answers. You talk to 10 people, you get 10 different answers. So when we build our platform, one of the main things we want to do is to give control back to the users. So with our platform, you can actually configure your layout. Everyone can configure their own layout by dragging and dropping each tiles. Again, I'll show you what that means in a bit, but that's another one. The third one, the last big one is this idea of when you do a meeting today on any video conferencing platform, it's ephemeral, right? I mean, you may take notes, on your notebook, but whether you have that call on Google or on Zoom, it actually doesn't matter because there's no quote unquote history after the call. So we've decided to automate a lot of note takings and a lot of what we call capturing of the data exhaust from the meeting, right? So if you were taking notes or if you were typing an instant message between you and other participants, all these things get captured automatically into a call log. So once the call is over, or once the session is over, you can go through a session log and see, oh, here are the 3 participants for that session. Here's what time they joined and what time they left. Here's all the things that they did. So it turns out it's super helpful because for colleagues who actually missed the meeting, you can send a link to them so that they can see what transpired. Or if you just wanted to have a refresher, on the meeting you had 2 months ago, and say, I had that meeting with Tim and John. we talked about these two things. I can't remember what else we talked about. You can go back to the session log and everything will be there.
And am I right, you can jump from room to room?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So if I'm like, okay, Waikit and I are in one session, and then like marketing is having another session, and Waikit asked me a question about marketing, be like, yeah, I don't know, but let me jump to this other room and ask the question, and then I can jump back with Waikit. That's right. Great. Correct?
That's right. So the descriptor we've been using to describe our platform, it's not video conferencing because it's so much more than that. Video conferencing is a small piece of what we do. So the best descriptor we've used to describe our platform is it's a virtual office, right? Think of all the things you can do in a physical office. You pull Jim into a meeting room and you collaborate, and then John and Mike could be having another meeting in a different conference room. We replicate all that. So yeah, the best way to kind of think about our platform is, if you're working remotely and you kind of feel like something is missing, we are sort of the platform that becomes the glue and the collaborative glue that ties different remote workers together.
Thanks, Waikit. So we have a few more hellos here. So Julie says hello from Barbados. Hi, Julie. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you tuning in. I think this may be your first Progressive HR Talk or live. I appreciate it. And then, so Meredith has a question. Zoom allows you to save the chat log from the meeting. How will the save process be different? How will the same process be different?
So it's automatic. So by default, anything that you do in a RemoteHQ room, you don't actually even have to remember to do the action to save it. Everything is essentially saved to the session log. Very important to note, so we take security and privacy very seriously. We actually spent a lot of time perfecting, making sure that it's bulletproof. So if you are the host, only you can see the session log. No one else can do it. Now you can share it. If you happen to have a colleague or a customer, you just want to share the transcript or what happened in the meeting with them, you can. That you actually have to click a button and share the URL, but otherwise they have no access.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Waikit. Question from Candace. Hello from Connecticut. Hi, Candace. Wondering if RemoteHQ will enable such flexibility that parents will be able to retain professional employment while navigating caregiving. Okay, Candace, I'll say that I use this. I use RemoteHQ while I'm taking care of my kids, while I'm cleaning my house, and and while I am teaching or helping my child on virtual Zoom for virtual learning. But that's my answer. I'll let Waikit answer.
I'm with you. I have two young kids, 8 and 5, and they do remote learning by necessity now. And that's how I use our platform on a daily basis with my team, and it actually has helped us be productive together, because a lot of times I can tell without being in the room, I can tell which of my colleagues are in what room. So there's this idea of presence. Again, going back to the virtual office metaphor, I can just glance around the office and see who is meeting with whom. And if I needed to talk to one of them, I can jump into the room if I needed to. So it gives me a lot more flexibility and visibility in ways that I don't necessarily have to have a live conversation with someone.
Thank you. Eric says, greetings from Madison. Hi, Eric. How are you doing? And Julie says, yes, I finally made it. Thanks, Julie. Oh, my goodness. So if you're just joining us, please let us know who you are, where you're coming from. And if you have any questions for Waikit or myself, Waikit will be doing a demo shortly. We've got one more question, I think, 1 or 2 more questions before the demo. And then after the demo, Waikit has something special for everyone. So we'll go to our next question here. And it would be, so what features should we talk about more in depth before going on into our demo?
I'll talk to you guys about maybe the crown feature, the crown jewel of our platform, or the crown jewel feature of our platform. So the one thing that we have quote unquote invented that no one else in the world has is how often is solving this issue, right? Which is your HO issue of screen share. Which everyone does, right? How often have you screen shared a website, for example, and just to go over the website for whatever reasons, and then whoever you're screen sharing it to, you run into a few problems. Number one, if your upstream bandwidth working from home is bad, they can't even see a very clear version of your screen share. Right? It gets all pixelated. That's problem one. Problem two, a bigger problem is sometimes you want to allow them to edit and touch what you're screen sharing. Right? Let's say you're screen sharing, again, bad example, potentially a kayak. Right? I'm doing my travel plans. I'm screen sharing it with Coreyne, and I want Coreyne to kind of, let me know like when I should be booking the flight, for a company offsite, what have you. Instead of her telling me, well, what if you try Friday at 2 p.m. So instead of telling me to do it or click the blue button, I can give her control of the website, and she can do it. And it almost feels like magic. Think of it as interactive screen share. So we can make every screen share instantly interactive without you needing to download anything. And I'll talk a little bit about what is the underlying technology that allows that. But that's really one of the big pieces. Our core technology is the ability to make any website, any web page instantly collaborative and multiplayer, so that multiple people can control it.
No. So it's the power of the shared browser. So you can have co-control over it. It's not just Waikit sharing his screen and me being powerless to not do anything if he asks me a question and me having to walk him through it. It's him sharing his screen and me being able to touch the screen or to move the screen around or to help him walk him through. So that's what we're talking about. Yes. I had one question going back to the transcription. So you also do in live transcription as well. Yeah. So it's for people who are maybe hard of hearing or cannot have, or are like the question about the parenting. You don't have to have the volume on if your kid is working next to you. You can watch the transcription as it goes by. So that gives more accessibility to people as well. So
yeah, that's actually a very important. Thanks for bringing it up. It's important features for a number of use cases and workers. It's machine transcription, so you can run it live so that everyone can see it. You can also run it in the background. So sometimes, if people just want a copy of the transcript, they may not want to see it while they're having the meeting because it could be distracting, what have you. So we allow the host to start transcription in any of those ways. So if you have someone who may have certain accessibility needs or maybe hard of hearing and they need to see that, so that's a great use case where you run it and then as I say a sentence, that sentence gets transcribed in real time, literally half a second later, and it shows up.
Okay. And so just so everybody knows, if you do want Waikit to join your lives, or if you want him to have you speak for your clients, Candace said she'd love to have you speak for client companies of untapped potential. Please feel free to put it in the comments if you want Waikit to help you out with anything. He's here. That's kind of why we're doing the live. It's a resource for everyone. So. And then, so Casey asked, so everyone, Casey is also from RemoteHQ. She's in the comments. So if you do have a comment that doesn't get picked up or a question that doesn't get picked up, you can always refer to Casey as well. So here's a comment that Casey's making to Meredith, is that you can also, the session history also saves much more than chat logs. It saves shared files, session video, audio recordings, and audio transcriptions. Thank you, Casey. And then last question we have, again, from Meredith, what is your target size company for RemoteHQ?
Yeah, before COVID, it generally would be medium-sized, small and medium-sized companies that are using us. So these generally tend to be consulting firms, design firms, tech companies. Since COVID, that has essentially become like anyone and everyone. So today we have, we still have a lot of the SMBs using us. Anywhere from teams of 5 people all the way to a few hundred in medium-sized enterprises. But we also have some large enterprises who kind of come and depend on our platform right now. One example of that is Manpower Group, for example. So Manpower Group is a Fortune 500 HR software provider and consulting service. Parts of their team use us to essentially train and touch their customers.
Yeah, thank you. And I just pulled up this statistic that I received from your blog is that that a CFO survey that over two-thirds of the survey, 74%, plan to permanently shift employees to remote work after COVID crisis ends. So this is not just for COVID. This is not just for remote companies or remote work. This is for everyone, every size of company, from solopreneurs and entrepreneurs up to, as Waikit said, Fortune 500 organizations. So we're going to come to the point where we are going to go into the demo. So Waikit's going to share his screen, and then Key and Casey are going to go through the demo for about maybe 10 minutes or so, and then we'll take some questions afterwards. So, all right, controls over to you, Waikit.
Let me share my screen here. Chrome tab. Actually, I'm going to share my entire screen just to make sure that you guys see it.
Okay. And when it's ready. Yep, when it's ready, I'll add it to the stream. So
excellent. Okay. It's ready. You should see just a Google portal search bar right now. Yes, that's what we see. Awesome, great. So Casey, if you don't mind, please jump into my room. So one of a minor differentiation we have is, unlike other companies, Zoom or what have you, where you have to always get a unique link with random strings or characters in the URL. When you create a room in RemoteHQ, you name the room, that URL to that room is fixed. So the great thing about that is it's always easy to remember. So where I can actually even type it out. So this is my room, my personal room, and I'm joining the room right now. Great. I'm going to turn my camera on. Okay, and I'm just making sure that that everybody can see everything. Yeah, it looks good. If anybody wants me to go full screen to see everything better, just let me know in the comments. Excellent. So great. So this is what a room looks like, and I'll kind of orient you before showing you the features. You can think of a room as a container. I mean, literally like a room where you can bring different files and different applications in this room, right? And let me show you what you can bring in. So if you go to the lower right-hand corner, there's a little blue button named Open Apps. So the idea is that you can bring different applications into this room. So if I click on that, you can see these are the apps that you can bring into the room. So we have referred to some of the apps already. For example, the shared browser app is the one that allows us to make any website that you access using this shared browser instantly collaborative among all the people in the room. So a few other ones are you can bring Google Docs in here, any kind of Google Docs, and it would be collaborative among people. You can bring a Dropbox, any files within Dropbox, and it will be collaborative. Coreyne talked about transcription. We also have recording. We have session recording, where it records the whole session with the audio and video. We have audio-only recording. This is a popular one, right? Now that we can't really get together in person, brainstorming and whiteboarding is really important. So we have two apps that help address that. One is just a plain old whiteboard, no fancy features. So you can bring a whiteboard in. Another one is Miro. Many of you guys may be familiar with Miro, which is a more advanced whiteboard. So these are all the apps that you can bring multiple of them in, and I'll show you in a bit. So for the first one, let me bring in a shared browser. So when I click on the shared browser, you will see it, ask me what URL I want to open, where the browser location. So shared browser is not a browser that lives on my machine or on Casey's machine. It is a browser, a virtual browser that is ephemeral, that lives in our cloud, and our cloud backs into all the major cloud providers, as AWS, Google, and Microsoft Cloud. So so since we're all East Coast, I'm gonna spin this up in the East Coast. US East is Virginia, and then I'll spin it up in such a way that guest Casey and I can both control. So So if I go to New York Times, let me do this.
So Waikit, Ephemeral. What is Ephemeral for those who don't know?
So I just loaded up New York Times. So this New York Times web page is being loaded up in a virtual machine, in a virtual computer in the cloud that we just literally in the last few seconds that we just spun up. So this is a temporary computer in the cloud with a temporary Chrome browser that we spun up just for this session. When I leave the session with Casey, or when I killed the shared browser, this whole virtual browser and this whole instance, the virtual computer it sits on, it gets destroyed. Nothing gets saved, nothing gets logged, nothing gets tracked. So it's very secure. Whatever you do, it's almost like this is the equivalent of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So this is the equivalent of what happens in the shared browser stays in the shared browser in that session. So with that, so as you can see, this is just plain old New York Times. It looks like a screen share, right? But here's the magic. The magic is I've given control to Casey. Casey can actually control it. So you can actually see Casey cursor, and she just clicked to a different section.
So it's like virtually reading the paper together.
Exactly. It's co-browsing in the purest form. It's co-browsing any website and co-controlling any website in the purest form. So as you can imagine, the use cases are numerous, right? And so we have a lot of customers using this to do sales demos, right? So the big differences there is, unlike doing a sales demo on a screen share, where it's a passive experience for the prospect and the customer, right? Here, I can load up, instead of screen sharing the website, your web service, I can load up the web service here, go through the demo. At the end of the demo, hand over control of what I'm demoing to the prospect so that he or she can have a test drive. That's a very, very powerful, compelling, experience, lean forward experience so that people can actually touch and feel your product or your service. A lot of customers of ours use it for also troubleshooting and support, right? How do I do this or how do I do that? You could be going back and forth on email or instant messaging, and you can't really quite answer their question. So what happens is that a lot of the support folks that we work with, they just send a URL, the support agent and the customer jumps into a session, loads up the customer's account and say, well, show me what your issue is. I'll help resolve it. 3 minutes later, everything is all set. And then other use cases that I mentioned, onboarding, training, and the like.
Awesome. What else can you show us?
So let me load a few more apps. Let me load, let's see. I'll load a Google, let me just copy the link here. Let me share this link.
Can I bother you with a question while you're doing this?
Of course.
Okay. So Amy wants to know, how would this compare or differentiate, how would we compare or differentiate this platform from Microsoft Teams?
Yeah, so it's complementary. So we are actually talking to Microsoft. Actually approached us to integrate into Microsoft Teams. We will be integrated into Microsoft Teams hopefully soon enough in the next few months. You can essentially share just a RemoteHQ URL within your Microsoft Teams and say, hey, let's jump into a RemoteHQ sessions. So you can jump from Microsoft Teams, a conversation in Microsoft Teams into RemoteHQ. You can also, if you're using Microsoft Teams for video conferencing, you can actually turn off video conferencing on our platform as well. So you could be doing your video conferencing on Microsoft, but doing your collaboration here.
That's amazing. That's truly amazing.
So I'm loading up a Google Slides right now. And so imagine Casey and I are working together on on a Google slide. And so I'm just going to give it a few seconds to load.
I think going into Trello would also be interesting, with just being able to, everybody in the room to be able to move the cards around as it's like a virtual kind of like rainbow of cards going.
Absolutely. So now this is a Google slide deck that I've loaded. Casey and I can actually both control it. So Casey and I could be building this deck together while we're talking, right? So Casey could be making changes here as I make changes in a different slide. So now you can actually work in tandem, all within the same browser pane.
Here's another question, and this is from, it says LinkedIn user, but this is from Chad Beyer from Madison, Wisconsin. Does the collaborative with virtual machine essentially open up infinite options for applications to collaborate with?
It does. You're very perceptive. It's a very perceptive comment, right? Because any website, any web page you load in using the shared browser is inherently collaborative or multiplayer. What we've done is we've essentially made every single website and every single web page instantly collaborative, right? And turn it to behave like a Google Doc. So yeah. So I want to show. I want to follow up on Coreyne's point. So if I were to, let me just maximize this. So many of you guys are probably Trello user. So instead of screen sharing Trello, here's one example of what you can do. I can go to Trello. I can log into my Trello account.
Can I bother you from another question from the audience?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so Amy asks, so an organization would need to buy a license to use this app within Microsoft Teams. Is that correct?
Yes. So we try to make it very easy for people to test us out and try us out. So if you go to just www.remotehq.com, you can sign up for free. We don't ask for your credit card. Everyone who signs up for free gets a 30-day all-you-can-eat free trial. If you invite a few or more of your colleagues, we actually give you even more trial time. We can extend your trial time another month. And this is something that Coreyne was talking earlier. And since we're good friends with Coreyne, and what we want to do is, if you want even more than 2 months free trial, Casey will share a link in a bit after this demo. You can book an onboarding session, 30 minutes with us. At the end of the onboarding session, we'll give you more credits if you need to.
Yeah, and if can they share that with friends and say that they're friends of Progressive HR Live?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So, so this is just a very quick. So this is an example Trello board, right? So instead of screen sharing it, I've loaded it using the shared browser. Both Casey and I can actually drag and drop different things around. So we've made what is essentially a not fully collaborative application, fully collaborative.
And can I have more than one browsers open at a time?
Not right now. We have another browser. You can, in the sense that we'll be rolling out. I have to check whether this is rolled out publicly yet, but you can open up Firefox. Firefox is another browser you can open up, so you can have it side by side. So let me show you. Let me open up Firefox right here. So now you can have two browsers side by side.
And I can have, let's say, I'm working on an agenda that's in Google Doc with Trello. I'm not sure who would do that, but just to show that you can have, like, you could have a Google Doc open side by side a Trello, or a Google Doc with an agenda open side by side with your PowerPoint presentation that you're working at. So you don't have to go back and forth.
That's right. That's right. So that's a great segue to show. I talked a little bit about configurable and flexible layout. So everyone in RemoteHQ can actually, each one of these squares is a tile. You can drag a tile. I can drag and drop them out. I can drag Casey out too if I wanted to. I can hide this right-hand side gutter, and I can resize this any way I want. And if I wanted to kind of, to just see the Trello shared browser maximize, I can click on full screen here. And when I click on full screen, everything else will get moved to the right-hand side gutter. We call it the gutter. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. One more important thing. So given the fact that everyone has their own layout, so what happens when I'm the host? I want to make sure that everyone sees the same thing that I'm seeing, right? Let's say I'm the salesperson or the trainer. So I can do that by, if I wanted someone to see a shared browser on one side, my face, my mug on the right side, I just drag myself out. So this is my layout. I can push my layout to everyone in this room by just mousing over the layout button here. And then if I click on share current layout with participants, if I hit this, I push my current layout to Casey. Now Casey sees what I see.
Look at that. Wow. Flexible layout is amazing. That's from Chad Beyer again. Chad's got another question here. Do your internal product development teams use this platform? Pairing, programming, mob programming?
We do.
Groups? Yeah.
We do. Some of I'll share with you some of our roadmap items. I'll give you, we are engineering heavy, product heavy company. So because we are remote and we use standard tooling like GitHub and the like, so one of the things we've always talked about is how do we make the lives easier for software developers, right? So we actually have a way that we may be rolling out soon that allows people to co-program together, right? To co-program together on the same IDE or integrated development environment and the like. So that's something that we're working on in-house.
So there's some fun features in here too. So you've got emojis. So you can give, if someone says something that so you like, you can give them a thumbs up or a heart, or it's kind of like also like a little bit of a social media going on there. So I like that. It provides some engagement too. More engagement, I would say. So. All right, so we're going to end our demo pretty soon. Is there anything else that you wanted to show everybody? And audience, is there any other questions you had specifically on the demo that you want to ask Waikit right now?
Two more quick things I just want to show.
Okay.
So remember I mentioned about data exhaust and artifacts. So this is when you hang up a call. This is essentially what your workspace looks like. I have a lot of workspaces. Most people only have one, so you can ignore everything. So this is my real workspace, RHQ. So you can create unlimited number of rooms in your workspace, right? Think of a workspace as a virtual building, right? You create a virtual building for your work, and then within the virtual building, you could have private rooms. So I have a private room between myself and my founder, and another room here, and then I've got team rooms. And team rooms are either named by people or function. So I can see JMac is a colleague of mine. He's active in this room right now with this. So let me go to my room, which is Waikit Lau, which Casey and I are in right now. So if I click on that room, you will see these are all the sessions I've had in my room, right? So let me click on this room here. So this is a session I had yesterday with a few people. As I mentioned, these are the folks in it, what time it started, what time it ended, what time people joined. We were taking some notes in the room, so the notes were automatically saved here. The chat messages that we took is automatically saved. So now I can always come back to this. I can do a search for, hey, who was in that call? Joe. And then if I search for Joe, this would show up. Here's another call I had in my weekly sales meeting. So we did a session recording here. So the video gets recorded and gets uploaded here in the session log. So we have a record of it. So that's the main thing I wanted to share with you guys. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys coming back to here is you can see that, so all these apps, there's this concept of persistence. I can persist apps in between meetings. Let's say Casey and I are in this meeting, and it's a daily meeting, and we're going over the slide deck. Well, when we come back tomorrow, I want the slide deck to still be here and open automatically. I can just toggle this. Once I toggle this, what it does is that it persists this app in the room so that when I come back the next time, the app will be here. So it becomes it saves you a lot of time in post-meeting and pre-meeting setup. So that's it. I'll stop there. I threw a lot at you guys.
As Mara says, great demo. This will make remote collaboration a lot less painful. Yes.
Thanks for bearing with me.
All right, we're going to move out of the demo now and back to our questions. So here we go. There we are. All right. So I don't know if everybody saw that Casey threw up that link for everybody. What is that link again for? And Casey, can you put that link up again, please? Waikit, what is the link for again?
Sorry. So a few links. One is just my email address. You can email me anytime, ask me any questions. Another link is a Calendly link for onboarding. So it's a 30-minute onboarding. It basically gives you access to my calendar. You can book time with myself or my colleagues, and we will give you essentially a custom demo and answer any questions live with you guys, and then give you extra credits.
Yep. So there was something special that we're going to offer everybody and their friends for mentioning Progressive HLR, and that's the extra credits, right? What does that extra credits mean?
Yeah. So if you sign up today already, you get 2 months free. If you do an onboarding session with us, we'll give you a few more months free. So you can essentially, we'll have a lot of time to use this. So.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, we appreciate that. So we have another question here, and I believe this is from Chad. Yes, it's from Chad. Is there a lock on the door or a knock on the door feature to avoid interruptions when moving different rooms?
Absolutely.
I was going to sort of ask this, like, can we crash a room? Like, can we be like, hey, how are you?
Yeah, so the short answer is that there are locks on the room. There are different kinds of locks on the room. So the first lock is guests and hosts, right? So let's say we are all colleagues. We're all members of the workspace. If a guest who is not a member of our workspace knows the URL of one of the room, the guest can't join that room without anyone being present in that room. So the guest just can't willy-nilly. Again, it's the same metaphor as an office, right? If you're not invited into an office, you can't get past the security guard or the receptionist to get into a conference room. Same idea. So then the second question is, what about locking out certain colleagues, right? So HR could be having a salary conversation with an employee. You don't want someone barging in when they're having very sensitive conversations. So you can create a private room for that. If you're not on the white list of the private room, you're not invited to the private room, even if you're a member of the workspace, you can't enter that room.
That's great. Speaking about privacy, so how does RemoteHQ ensure user privacy and security?
So the first thing we do is everything is end-to-end, is encrypted end-to-end. All the communications, video, audio, all those things are encrypted end-to-end. AES 256 standard high-level encryption. All the application, all the apps that we bring in terms of communication, as well as the things that we store in our cloud, they are also encrypted.
That is awesome. I know that's a big question that everybody had, is like the privacy and the security. And you're constantly working to make sure that you're ever more increasing your security and your privacy. And like I said at the beginning, is that you're ever more working to increase the user interface and the user accessibility and bringing more and exciting apps to RemoteHQ. Question from our audience, from Julie. This is amazing. Is this product accessible for the Caribbean?
Yes, it is accessible worldwide, anywhere. We have a number of users coming from the Caribbean. I'm trying to get more folks now that I'm in Puerto Rico, trying to get more folks here use it. We've got users all around the world, Europe, Asia, a lot in the US, obviously.
Yeah, so those that follow my feed saw that I had that poster, that poll up about digital nomadism. It was a month or so ago when Waikit and I first kind of connected. He was in Boston and now he's in Puerto Rico. So I just wanted to mention that, like the digital nomadism. I think this is great for digital nomadism, and obviously for remote work. So another question from Asmara: what happens to the data when a room is no longer required?
Yeah, you can delete the room. So so you can actively delete the room. If you delete the room, all the data gets deleted. We don't store anything when you do that. If you don't delete the room, it will always be there. Obviously, the other question we get asked a lot is, well, what if I don't need the workspace anymore? Coreyne, for example, used multiple workspaces. One workspace with each client, for example. So let's say you have a workspace with a client, and that client engagement has ended, and you don't really need the leave behinds and all the data. You can just delete the entire workspace. Everything in that workspace gets deleted. Nothing gets stored.
Awesome. Julie wants to talk to you afterwards, so
sure.
I won't flash. Oh, I didn't want to flash that on the screen, but there we go. So I want to know, what are you planning next? Oh, before I go into this question, you also have Asian characters, right? The Asian characters have come up now. So
yeah, so we have quite a number of users out in Asia, especially in Japan and Korea. So and they use our shared browser a lot. So they load up different websites in Japan or Korea with Japanese characters or Korean characters. We support those now because those are not English characters, and we need special support. So we just rolled out support for that 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So what are you planning next for RemoteHQ? I know Canva's going on there because I requested it. So
yeah, so no, more apps, right? So Canva is one of the ones that we're looking at, as well as other apps that I think that are popular, that are often used. Notion, Coda, Prezi is another one that we get asked once in a while.
Did you mention Asana?
Asana is actually one that we get asked a lot. And so these are some of the ones that we're gonna add on. We don't have timing yet, but I can tell you some of the other add-ons that we have timing for. So Salesforce Integration, given the fact that a lot of our users use us for customer facing, either sales demos or sales pitches or support, they need whatever happens in that session. All the notes and metadata gets pushed back into the CRM. A lot of times it's Salesforce.com. So we're doing a Salesforce.com integration right now, so that all the data exhaust that gets captured gets pushed back into CRM.
So Julie asked the same thing I did: will you be integrating with Asana? And the answer is eventually you will be.
Yeah, we've been looking at to see if they have APIs. So a lot of these integrations, a lot of times depend on if they have public APIs. So if they have public APIs, we do the integration ourselves. If they don't have public APIs, we essentially try to talk to them, we approach them and try to get access so that we can bring them in within our platform. So we have an early conversation. We have early conversation with Asana right now. They have been fairly busy since the IPO a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. And so what are your predictions for the rest of 2021, and how will you and your team and RemoteHQ technology be there to support organizations?
We talk to a lot of folks in the remote work, which is everyone, right? Both folks who have done remote work for years, and as well as the people who just, by necessity over the last 12 months. When we talk to them just in terms of, hey, when COVID is over, what would happen to your work cadence and where you're going to work? Consistently, we're starting to see a common thread, which is, if you are small to medium-sized companies, I think a lot of them are just going to have very flexible work-from-home schedules. If you are bigger companies, like you have your Microsoft or Salesforce.com, you have a big building and offices that you already paid for. What I'm starting to hear from folks is they're going to turn those offices, or a lot of them, into WeWork, to behave like WeWork, so that you have a floating desk, a floating chair. You may work from home twice a week, and then when you're in the office for 3 days a week, there's a reservation system, and you go in there and they give you a chair and a desk, and that's where you're going to work for today, and then tomorrow you come back and maybe a different slot. So people are looking into that, and I think that's kind of where I think the big companies are going to start looking more like WeWork over time.
Great, thank you. And you saw the statistic that I just put up is that by 2025, 36.2 million Americans will be working remotely. So get on the train now. This, remote HQ. So we're coming to like our last 10 minutes. I do have a bit of a summary for everyone, but if you have a question for Waikit or a question about Remote HQ or even a question for me, now's the time to ask it before we summarize and say goodbye. So I think we had a few more comments come through. Julie asks, will migrating with Microsoft affect using Zoom?
No. We have users using us with Zoom. So they would use Zoom for video conferencing, just like with Teams. They would use Zoom with video conferencing, and then they would turn off our video conferencing in the room. So collaboration happens in Remote HQ, communications happens in Zoom.
Okay. And if the audience would like a demo, and we talked about this earlier, but I'm a one for like always, repeating, how to contact you if the audience would like a demo. So if the audience would like a demo, how can they contact you? And Casey, could you put the link up in the comments again, please?
Absolutely. Drop me an email. We'll schedule something or book directly in the Calendly link that Casey would share and just book a half an hour of our time.
Awesome. So those links are in there, but I'll also let you know that you can contact Waikit Lau via LinkedIn DM, or you can contact us at www.remotehq.com. Casey will be putting up that Calendly link. And then if
Casey will also share my email, so feel free to drop me an email directly.
In the email too. So you can also, for more information on Progressive HR, Progressive HR Live, and for the shows that we have coming up, you can follow me, Coreyne Woodman-Holoubek, or Progressive HR Live on LinkedIn. You can always DM me with questions, or you can follow #ResourcefulHumans. So we have a few more questions coming in here before we say goodbye and summarize. Actually, they weren't questions. They were Casey putting the links up again. So excellent. All right, audience. So we have about 5 more minutes before we say goodbye. Now's the time. Get your questions in. Any comments? Otherwise, Waikit and I will just talk a little bit more about questions that I have. So one of the questions I had is that, so I noticed that when you go in, some of the screens are, the screen is black. Is there a reason for that?
You mean like shared browser, for example?
Right, where the shared browser. Is that because we're in incognito?
No, it's because the shared browser is running in the cloud, in a different location than your local computer. So when you resize, it's reconnecting from your computer to that cloud, that browser in the cloud. And sometimes it's also a function of your bandwidth. So if your bandwidth is not great, it takes a little bit longer, but usually it takes no more than 1 or 2 seconds. If you have good bandwidth and your computer is fast enough, it's fairly instantaneous. Yeah.
Okay, because one of the reasons I've been asking is because when I was in the last time, I was like, oh, there's a lot of black here. Can I change my color? Can I make it like green? Because green's my favorite color. Can I have banners? Can I do? Go ahead.
I see what you mean. Yes, the black is the background. This is actually something we're spending time talking, literally just this past week. That the short answer is yes. We want to allow people to customize their room experience in more ways than just swapping out our logo and swapping their logo. And so today you can swap out our logo and swap in your logo. You don't have to pay extra for that. That's part of the package. But we want to allow people to, like Coreyne said, if you want to change the background color, you should be able to. So we want to enable that soon.
Oh, that is awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ending our time here. I just wanted to let you know that the upcoming Progressive HR Lives in February are going to be Beth Ridley of The Brimful Life. We'll be talking about digital wellness and culture. And then Karen Gill-Murray will be talking about what HR can do to support digital transformation. And then Nick Myers of Red Fox AI, we're going to be talking about sonic technology. So please join us for our February lineup. March lineup will be coming soon. So Waikit, thank you so much for joining me and my audience today. I greatly appreciate it. I knew about Remote HQ and I've been working within it, but like the questions that you answered and the things that you talked about today, I just love learning so much about what intelligent minds you guys have, and how much you're thinking about how we can, make the future of work great for everyone. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, thanks for having me.
And we've got a question coming in. Sean says, great presentation. Thank you so much, Sean. Greatly appreciate it. I just saw another one come in. We'll wait for that one. Meredith, thank you so much. What a great presentation. Thank you, Meredith. All right. Thank you, resourceful humans. We'll see you next week. Progressive HR Live is every Thursday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. We'll see you soon. Have a beautiful and wonderful progressive day. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone. Ending broadcast now.